Good morning. Welcome to Flat Earth Early Bird number 1581. I'm your host Arwin. And before I start the show, please don't forget to share it on any platform you deem fit. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell notification so you know when I'm going live, which is normally 1 p.m. Amsterdam time in the weekdays and 2 p.m. Amsterdam time in the weekend. And please also do support me through the PayPal and Patreon. That would be much appreciated. I can always use the support, so please keep it coming. Right, the weather today is a little better, I guess. It was kind of sunny earlier, but there's also a lot of big clouds going over, like that one. A couple of blue spots in between, if you look carefully. Right, but it's kind of nice. Ah, sun. Boing, just like that. Right. Hello, Terra3006, first in chat, good to see you. It is Tuesday, the 25th of April, 2023. And I feel pretty good. Like made some proper dinner yesterday. A whole bunch of vegetables and chicken and great. And I got more. I mean, this is like 3 or 4 days worth of food. And yeah, really needed that. Also took a shower, cleaned it up. So I just feel great. So yeah, how are you guys doing? Yeah, sorry, I got up a bit late though, so I'm kind of behind on checking things out. Like preparing. Hold on. It's kind of hard keeping track of all the comments. It's annoying. Right, yeah. Hello, LSG, first, not first in chat, second in chat, good to see you. I don't know. Terra3006, what is with his latest launch? I heard one of his rockets blew up. I did see that footage. Is there something else? I don't know, man. Seriously, I don't keep track of it. I mean, it's brought up. There's something happening by flat earthers, but I don't keep track. Hey, Richard G, good to see you. Wow. Gotta show you this. I mean, that's just beautiful. Too much light. It's like crystal blue over there. But the sun is kind of obscuring the blue. It's too much. Too directly above, right? Yeah, it's kind of beautiful right now. Right, so yeah, yesterday night, whole bunch of hassle, apparently. Evening. No, afternoon started. Like, yesterday, heard through Alex Jones' show, and later even through Owen Benjamin, that apparently, big media event. Tucker Carlson got fired or left Fox when he was their #1 attraction. So, yeah, all the puppets are shaking out there. And Owen Benjamin moved his show time slot to much later, which I'm not really happy about. So now it starts at night for me. Live, that is. Right. But whatever. Right, Flat Earth debates yesterday was great. It's very active. Yeah, we kept talking like very much longer than the after show though. Nathan did round it out the after show like after 1 hour. But we kept going. I'm not exactly a speech waterfall right now at the moment. Sure, I'll grow more into it. Oh, I got some greens. I think I might chew that down. Maybe just right now even. Hey, Moxie. Yeah, I think I'm gonna chew on some of this. Probably wake me up good. Right, so Tarot, if you want to talk about that Elon launch or whatever, link it up. Which event are you talking about? Is it something that just happened? Or is it from last weekend? The test flight? Or Tarot, you could just leave it like that. Whatever. I'll just take it easy. Just sit here for a bit. Enjoy myself. Not really rambling on and on. For a change. Until something really interesting is brought up, and then I will. I will talk about anything. Well, not anything, Moxie. But, yeah. I mean, unless I got some stuff ready to go, which is not often, to be fair. Yeah. I'm pretty much open for anything that doesn't, like, violate decency or is not just lame or weird and random. But you know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, you said I will talk about anything, but that doesn't mean anything, if you know what I mean. Yeah, I realize that. I just wanted to point it out because you probably wouldn't have per default admitted that. But the thing is, it is pretty much an open platform most of the time. Where I'm just kind of waiting to like, okay, what's brought up? Right, but there is something going on. Like this Tucker Carlson thing is also something. At the same time over here, we got this one program in the Netherlands. Unheard the Netherlands. Like, Ongehoord Nederland. Like this one program that is on the television that is, yeah, counter opposite to the state media propaganda bullshit. And they really want it off. They've been trying for a while. It's like, oh, Tucker Carlson leaving. Now they want that gone too. Like, so I'm not surprised finding this article here right away in this morning. Right. Also, just a weird little article that is kind of suspicious. It's even like in the article itself. Supposedly, we got a message that Russia blew up like this bunker, all kinds of NATO officers, and they're like it just happened. But I think personally that it is basically a very refined propaganda craft that's like effectively undispellable, because what I think happened, I heard from a whole while back that a bunch of bunkers got blown up, and that's like last year, and there were NATO officers involved in that. I heard about that. I don't know if it ever like went official, but it was going around the talk. And so there's a likelihood that this is like a official admission with a twist, basically. So they've rearranged. Probably those people that were lost for a whole bunch of time, basically underground, they would have been killed over there, in that other time, in certain bunkers all there. And now they're doing it like they just did it. Like what they're describing is probably fake, but the people that they're gonna say they killed, they probably have actually killed through an earlier strike. So it's like this very subtle statecraft that's like using the timing, right? It's kind of like a bit of a dramatization, but very effective. So that's happened. It's a little weird also because I didn't find anything about it back on RT, which is supposed to be, well, the Russian news, basically. And it was weird to see like an article like that, but not find it back on RT. That made it like a little bit suspect. So that hence came my theories about it that I'm just sharing now. Let's check again. Is there anything? Yeah, there's no direct like article about it. Or maybe it happened a bit earlier, and the news outlet that caught it was relatively late compared to others. That could be it too. Yeah, it already says it. It was from April 9th. So the article's just really late. All right. Sorry. I should have checked that before I started talking about this. Anyway, hello LVA Paul, good to see you. Right. But this is technically how I see it. It's like Russia's still at war. They're gonna use propaganda. They'd be fools not to, but it seems like they're just doing it very subtle. It's very respectable. Right? They're not like sowing insanity. Like the US typically tends to do. Anyhow. Yeah, Tarot, I know. Tucker Carlson is just very popular in the United States. But I mean, there's a good chance he's probably gonna like start on his own. Like become really completely independent. There's a good chance that he'd do that. And that would be very interesting. I'd be interested in watching to see what he would be like when he basically doesn't have any chains attached anymore. Might get to see another side of him that he's basically never really showed too much. That would be very interesting to witness that. Right, so anyway, that happened. Hey, Dank. He might run for president? Yeah, but what? Like how? Maybe? I don't know, man. I mean, when you're that popular, like, your ambitions will set your limits. So who knows what he's gonna do? Anyway, yeah, there's not too much I can really say about it. I basically just found out. Don't really follow Tucker. I just know he's out there, and even through Alex Jones, regularly you get to see Tucker clips. I actually find Tucker kind of annoying, to be fair. He's always like, "Oh, this is America?" And that's like getting really old to me. Because it sort of has like victim mentality formula within it, sneakily. So it's... But I guess that's very popular in the United States, and that's why he's so popular. But, I mean, he does go to places. He doesn't, like, censor. He doesn't chicken out to certain interviews, and that's that's, like, good journalism. I do respect him for that. Right, but I don't know how smart Tucker is with the apocalypse, for real. Like, he might be a real normie that's like really kept themselves. I don't know how much he believes about mainstream stuff. Like, for example, Earth being flat, right? I don't think he, like, there's people out there that get it, and they just talk about the globe anyway. Like a religion almost. I think that Alex really is among that category. But I don't know about Tucker, like how much he really knows about those kinds of things, because he just seems to be very focused on politics. Right, it's just that he might have a lot of blind spots, basically, you could call it. And if you have blind spots, then you don't really know how the world works. Like, not really. You'll have certain things right, but there will always be things happening that you just don't understand what that means. It might not, yeah, overlook it. So, I don't know. I wonder what like a conversation with him would be like behind the scenes. Like, does he really know a lot, or does he just really know about his focus? What he talks about on the shows? I wonder. Right, because I don't know, sometimes he just had the way he looks out of his eyes when he does some of his talks. Like, those are red flags to me of like blind spots, like that look, right? But you don't really know for sure until you test such things, and like one with questions, with very specific type of questions, and then see how they respond, especially their composure, right? That's how you find out whether those blind spot signs are actually real or part of some weird act, if they are theatrics, which they could be. I don't know, because I don't really know Tucker. I only ever see him just like as part of him being the journalist guy. How do you know that, Tarot? Are you just guessing? Or name some names. Who's done that? What flat earther walked up to him? Has Tucker ever done like an item about flat earthers? Probably wouldn't. Yeah, being that popular might not work out that great if he did that. But who knows? I don't keep track of them. Hello, Zane Solo. Man, that salad really did the job, by the way. Huh. Only problem is that no matter how many times I eat this, over time, it's not getting to taste any better. But it's so worth it. It's a video of Tucker being... Yeah, but he knows. He knows that. He knows that climate change is a hoax. And I think he's adapting to that, right? So you know he's integrating that knowledge into his persona. But, I mean, with Flat Earth, if he just ignores it, then you could basically try to tell him all kinds of things and he'll just ignore it. He'll just literally forget that conversation even took place. Right? Unless you can get some back and forth. Hey, Steamy Traveler. Good to see you. Right. Right, so guys, what do you want me to tackle? I want to roll it off. You guys don't seem to be super eager. What's my take on the mud flood? There might have been some places that had a little like mud flood situation going, but it was definitely not a worldwide event. So I think that mud flood idea out there has been like grossly exaggerated, like many things. So when it first started out, like I heard it on Martin Liedtke's, right? He's been talking about that forever. Although talking is a big word, keeps mentioning it, keeps claiming it. And at first it's like, hey, yeah, there's something to that. But then it becomes like the second flood or something in those mud flood people's heads, and they just make it into like it's this massive world-changing event, and it's everywhere, and like it just becomes over-exaggerated nonsense. And none of them still even really know what would be the cause of it. But they're all so certain about how radically it changed everything. And yeah, it's not really worth listening to for me. Metro Lucas Dash. Yeah, sure, whatever. Billions of years? No, absolutely not. You can't even get close to proving the realm to be 1,000,000 years old, let alone billions of years. That's ridiculous. What about the world fairs? Have I heard about? Yeah, I mean, Owen Benjamin also talked about them. They're pretty weird. There was just a whole bunch of weird stuff happening. It has to do with, well, the idea of territoria, you could say, or just that there was amazing technological peaking going on in that time, and they were literally trying to display that. It was like the peaking of like industrial era technological development, still a lot through just craft, like people like Tesla that would just like on their own figure things out. And it's all been historically downplayed. That's the whole, like, everything now in this era, we're all downplaying enormously what reality was like back then and where everybody was at. The technological developments, which did not stop at all, were very advanced. And airships were probably around, plenty. Right? It would have, in a way, have seemed much more modern looking even than things are now. Except that, yeah, the technology was just another era. So it's like a steampunk, right? It was like a high civilization steampunk style in a way. Well, steampunk, the art style is much more cartoonish, almost like that. But it was high tech. It wasn't electronics high tech, but it was high tech. It was electrics high tech, just not microelectronics. And yeah, it's all been kind of shoved under the carpet. And arguably even like the World Fair itself was like a ritual to shove it under the carpet in a way, because they burned it all. Like, how did that even happen? How did it all just burn down like that? So quickly? Well, they might have literally used a directed energy weapon from a blimp to just set it all on fire, just like that. Who knows? Wonder what Tesla... Well, Zane Solo, he would have come up with what other people have come up with. He would have probably started to focus more on healing. Because there is a lot of development with electrics concerning, well, like Schumann resonance and just how electrics can be used to basically heal the body. He would have probably gone in that direction because he was not like a world-hating man. He didn't want to destroy. He figured out like the death ray and all that, but it's probably just he stumbled upon it by accident. The idea of it is like, oh yeah, this would work. He didn't have ambitions to become a mad scientist and destroy the world or anything. So he would have probably then continued on developing a medical revolution, which has still occurred, except not as early. Although you could argue that behind the scenes it was already happening during Tesla's time. It was just not so widely known and distributed. They kind of kept it to themselves because, I mean, that same time was also the time frame where the Rockefeller Foundation and all that made their move to create the medical system and make that universal, right? So yeah, you gotta keep all of that into account, what it would have been like. But wireless energy, yeah, sure, but I mean, that was just not gonna happen. That was even during his lifetime, right? And if he would have developed that further, Steamy Traveler, then eventually he would have had lawsuits against him, like, you're not allowed to do that because you're disrupting the business of the electric industry now, right? That is what would have happened, because that was the whole thing, right? He had the wireless energy, like really cheap, available for everybody, and then they chose not to use that system because you couldn't make any money off it. Well, if he then further develop it, that would probably get in the way of those businesses. And then it would have went after him judicially. Like, you're damaging our business with your stupid experiments. And he's like, yeah, we're giving it free. Yeah, that's none of our concern. We have a business and you're damaging it. And then the courts would have no doubt sided with the electric companies because it's freaking America. And business is more important than logic and reason. Whizzing around in space? No. That's not a mad thought, that's just stupid. There is no space, and he definitely would not have been flying around in it, because it's not there. Right. And dude, you could take it in all kinds of weird directions. I mean, how do you know he really died? Maybe he was like kidnapped. Maybe he actually was like kidnapped to Germany. Ever thought about that? Who was developing the whole Bell project in Germany? Right? This is like pre-World War. This is not exactly during the war phase that all that was developed. So who developed the bell exactly? Like the UFO tech? Could it have been Tesla? That he didn't actually die, but was just kidnapped? And like forced to work with, yeah, the secret development group. Like, and that would have been like before it was all Nazi even. Maybe it was kept out of that. Didn't even know. Who knows, man? I mean, is there a grave? Is there Tesla's grave? Is he in it? Did he even die very early? When the hell did Tesla die, supposedly? Okay, I need to dig into this a bit more. Died 1943. What a timing. Wow, okay, there's plenty of data. In Wikipedia. Jesus Christ, there's a lot. Holy shit, that's a big page. Apparently Tesla was being praised by Einstein a lot. Whoop-de-doo. But he didn't die young. I thought he died kinda young. Huh, that's weird. Okay, I think that my theory is probably not really working out. What? A gilded urn with Tesla's ashes? What the fuck? Okay, there's that apparently. Right, okay, so never mind. I think my theory is probably more going to be reserved for some silly movie. I mean, it would make a good movie. It's like, oh, what if Tesla was kidnapped by the Germans and he helped make the UFO tech? But I mean, yeah, I mean, there's such an elaborate page there on Wiki. It's pretty incredible. That, yeah, that my theory seems very unlikely. What are you talking about? Oh my god, you can't be serious. Are you... Oh, shut up, Zeptepi. Can't be seriously starting to claim it's real again, you idiots. Space is fake. It isn't there. Yeah, the realm has a limited volume. That's why there is a pressure gradient devised, spaced out the way it is. Yeah, that's already a very direct indicator of a limitation of the volume. Like there's a limit to the scale, right? Whenever you create a gradient in a closed system, there's always very distinct ways it gradiates, no matter the extremities, right? So by the pressure gradient that we can actually measure here in the realm, you would have to logically, metrically conclude that it cannot be millions of miles high or more. You would have to conclude that just looking at the pressure graph and how the gradient flows if you put it in statistic. It cannot be endless. Gas doesn't gradiate like that versus an extreme volume. It just never does. It can never be demonstrated to gradiate in such a fashion. So you would have to logically conclude that the amount of volume that is up there has to be significantly limited. Yeah, logically, you know, through experimentation, through testing how things happen. Like, how does gas gradiate? How can you gradiate? Well, you use temperature influences. Okay, how's the pressure going to gradiate within the closed container that you're screwing around with? Oh, it's like this, a certain curve, yeah? With a minimum like that. Well, then you compare that data. Like, how did it gradiate? Compare that data to, well, the pressure gradient that you measure here, right? And you can really only go by what you can actually measure, because there's supposed information about how it keeps growing thinner and thinner. There is no evidence that it's actually like that. Yeah? That's just NASA input. Nobody has actually confirmed that, right? Outside of that institute, without being specific. What the fuck are you talking to? What's above and beyond? Nothing. Probably nothing. And even if there was something there, you wouldn't be able to get there. Not like that. I think the only way we could potentially ever go beyond the ceiling would be to go down and then find a loop that brings us back to the top. I think that's the only way you could ever get beyond the barrier. If there is a possibility that there is anything beyond the barrier, it's not just the end of space and nothing can get there, right? Because that's also a possibility. What the fuck? Who are you talking to? Hey? Who are you talking to, numpty? Just shut the fuck up. of Guns of Navarone. Good to see you. By the way, yes, Septepi said you can recreate the entire atmosphere in a miniature scale and expect it to work the same. Well, I didn't say to completely recreate everything. Said you study the nature of gradation by creating one in a closed system. And then, through its influences, like it's very simple, you have a hot, cold influence, and you might want to increase both to just see how that alters gradation in itself. Yeah? How distinctly different can it potentially be made to be? How distinct can a gradient be, and how extreme does the temperature differential have to be? So you just know about gradation itself. It wasn't meant as an attempt to simulate what you believe the Earth to be like. It's just figuring out the nature of gradation, gas gradation within a closed system. Then when you figure out all the dynamics of that, then you can unleash that knowledge on the gas pressure gradient we have here on Earth and come to certain conclusions, right? It's called data cross-referencing. Then you can devise a potential model that actually makes sense. To almost zero? Yeah, you have no proof of almost zero. No proof at all. Where's your measured almost zero? Zeptapi, where is it? Like, what tool was used to measure that almost zero? Not calculated, not, oh, we just calculated, just took this continuation of this trend within data. No. An actual measurement. Where is that measurement of almost zero in the real world, in the physical world out there? And what equipment was used to get there and measure that? I want to know. Is that happy? Dwayne Cullen, Micey Star. Yeah, that's cute. I know, weather balloons have been used, but I'm talking about this almost zero PSI that you're talking about. Yeah? Where? What was the PSI measurement? What was the height? Because this almost zero you mentioned, I think that's fiction. He measured it almost zero. I don't believe you. Zero point 50. Okay. Wait, how? Why the fuck do you have to say that in feet? The fuck? Can't you just use miles? Or meters? Aren't you supposed to be Dutch? Why don't you just use proper metrics? I don't give a shit. I want to know how high it is. Okay. Really? Almost 8 kilometers? I mean, 4 kilometers. Okay, that's not that extreme even. Just 4 kilometers up? Huh. $30? No. Wait, did I add a 0? Hold on. Oh, oops, yeah, yeah, it is almost 38 kilometers, sorry. I missed 1 0 in that when I typed it out. Right, okay. 15. Well, it is very low. That's lower than I thought it would be. But I mean, yeah, I'm pretty sure you can actually recreate that in a laboratory. Although you need a pretty big container though to get it that emphasized. Alright, but look, it doesn't really matter anyhow. To have a gas pressure gradient, you need gas pressure in the first instance to settle and then be able to form a gradient under whatever condition it does that, which is most likely temperature influence, right? Heat at ground level, cold at the top. It is colder up there, so it's already playing into that entirely. But the thing is, you have to have a container, you have to have a limited volume where the gas can move in order to be able to form a gradient, right? Because gradation is secondary. And it's like mechanically too. It's not just like, oh, logical antecedents or whatever. It's mechanically too, yeah? A gradient only happens after the gas has settled within the available volume. And then it might gradiate, because as long as it hasn't expanded yet to fill the available volume, there's no gradient going to form. It's just going to basically uniformly explode in all directions and evenly thin out until the entire volume has been evenly filled. And then a gradient, depending on the influences on the gas in the container, may start to form after the gas has indeed filled the available volume evenly, right? So I'm not even going to have a discussion about how the gradient, according to Baller, supposedly proves that it's in outer space. It's so ridiculous because you completely overlook just the very nature of gas pressure itself. Like what practically happens. Yeah? Gas doesn't gradiate versus like a vacuum. Like not that much anyway. I mean, yeah, you might be able to create a gradient in a closed container. It might be really low pressure even on one side. But that's not going to work out like that if there is like 1,000 times more volume of that same container. Then it's not going to be at the bottom pretty thick layer gas pressure and then very quickly much lower and then be like 50 times that amount of distance super low. That's never how gas gradiates, ever. That's the part that cannot be demonstrated practically under any circumstances. Yeah, you can't make gas stick to a very small surface in a very big volume. It doesn't work that way. You can never make gas gradiate like that. Ever. There's always going to be a very distinct way gas gradiates within the available volume. And that's just practical fact. So I'm not going to try to go into this ridiculous discussion again. It's been going through that for like almost a decade now. I mean, it's getting really old. To keep repeating why it can't work. Hey, hello, Gaining Wisdom. Good to see you. Oh, whoa. Okay, that's a heavy question out of nowhere. Thanks, Gaining Wisdom. I appreciate that. Let me start with a presupposed stationary position from rotation. What? Lateral or vertical motion that this looping realm may already express. What? No, there's no rotation. It's very stationary. And the loop simply, well, look, if a loop is happening, it is literally, it changes everything, because a loop can be containment. I tried to express this even in the Flat Earth Talks days, yeah? A loop is effectively containment. Why? Because the gas will be pressuring on itself. Right? So if there is a spatial loop happening, then that limits the volume available for a gas to press upon to be contained. It will effectively not be required because the gas trying to expand in all directions will be meeting up itself. So it would take away the necessity of a barrier to exist for gas to press upon if the space loops in on itself. I know that might be a bit of a nutcracker on your mind, but that's arguably, I can't demonstrate it just like that. You can claim it. But I mean, logically, that works. You might disagree, but I mean, I can demonstrate it, you can demonstrate that it doesn't work. Right? Because you can't have a miniature model that loops in on itself. Either space loops or it doesn't. We can't recreate that. Loop? No. Shut the fuck up, you retard. Fuck off. There's no motions, there's no degrees. Yeah? Looping has nothing to do with that. No motion. Loop just is. Del, yeah, maybe he is, dude. I don't care, man. If he wants to go nuts and go all over the place, then by all means, go ahead, Del. We don't give a shit. You want to go crazy? You want to drag it all into hell with nonsense? And migrating to conceptualism? Then go ahead. I'm not gonna do that. No denying the lights in the sky move. Well, they changed their angle, George Sandford. Moving is a claim that kind of infers a Euclidean position. But, I mean, their angle towards the observer definitely changed at a consistent rate. Ballers are now playing dumb about... Oh, now they're doing that. Oh. No, really. No, they played dumb about Coriolis from the start. That's not new, Moxie. I mean, Blue Pill Devolution. Hello, by the way. Nobody thinks Nobody thinks the Earth is a floating pancake. That's ballers that think that flat earthers think that. No flat earther thinks that. All flat earthers, as far as I'm aware, know space is fake. It's one of the first things to break when you become a flat earther. You realize that that's all gone. And ballers logically can't even imagine that not being an integral part of their cosmology. So then they project that onto what flat earthers think and say it's a pizza in space. And that's retarded. Because there is no flat earther that actually believes that. None. If they say they do, then they're probably like some agent weirdo figure. Like Flat Earth Society people. I mean, Flat Earth Society people are not flat earthers. I don't believe so. Not genuinely. Maybe they just like to speculate about it, but they're certainly not getting real about it. They're very, very primitive, archaic, and undeveloped in their cosmogony conceptions. Very, very underdeveloped. And since it's staying like that, they have to naturally have a gatekeeper function. Because otherwise, why wouldn't you develop? Like we have over at the Flat Earth debates, for example. You develop your insights, you refine them. They don't seem to be doing that at all. Even though they've been around for decades. So Del is... I don't give a shit, Zane Solo. I don't care what Del does. If he wants to go all idiotic like that, then fine, dude. Nobody gives a fuck. You want to be a fucking retard? You want to be the outsider? You want to rebel against structure? then go ahead. You go do that. We don't give a shit. You'll get a bunch of people all excited about it. But I don't care. It's not like he's really helped develop any knowledge, to be fair. It's been very entertaining hearing him share his feelings about certain things. It's very entertaining. But he doesn't actually develop any insight. He mostly criticizes other people's insights. That's what he mostly does. He's always done that. And yeah. I mean, it's kind of pointless. It doesn't really develop anything. He gets things wrong a lot. What did Dell do? I'm not upset. What are you talking about? He's a manic depression? I don't know, maybe. I think it's... I don't know. What the fuck is the word for that in English? I think it's more binding fear. Like, he doesn't want to be pinned down on ideas. Like, ever. So he doesn't want to be solid ground. So he's going to entertain something and then just like that, throw it in the bin. Because he doesn't want to be pinned down on ideas. That's what I think is really happening with Dell. He's always been like that. Guys, I've been with him on the show in 2016. He's always been like this. Up and down, phases. Good mood, angry mood. And then he starts rejecting everything again. And then he gets back, he gets a little bit more stable. He starts to understand what's going on. Still a bit hesitant. And then goes back and then he gets angry. It always happens. He's always just rejecting everything. He always does that. I don't know if that's manic depression. Because, I mean, I have times where I get more angry and times where I get, like, much happier as well. But I don't just break everything down. The whole key issue of what he does is that he refuses to be tied down to any concept. Even if it is, like, absolutely, permanently true. Arguably. He doesn't care. He doesn't want to be pinned out. He'll shit on anything when he feels like it. That's not manic depression. That's just binding fear. Fear to be pinned down on anything. Maybe Blue Pill Devil. I'm not trying to define as to the cause of his behavior. I'm just trying to outline the actual issue of what his behavior really is. What's the driving force? Mania and depression is not the driving force. He's not really that manically depressed, dude. I've seen much, much worse than that. The overall issue is that he refuses to be pinned down under any circumstances. Like, even if it's absolute clarity, like, he doesn't care. He just won't be pinned down. You might agree with something in a moment, but that doesn't mean anything to him because, like, the next day, he might be all against it all of a sudden. Doesn't care. Right? And the underlying theme is that he refuses to be pinned down. It's not his mood that are driving him. It's that part. It's his themes. It's the themes of his show. This thing, I don't agree with it. Then he doesn't agree with the ball thing, of course. And then he doesn't agree with the flatter thing. It's always about what he doesn't agree with. Right? So, yeah. I don't really care for his opinion. It's not really worth consideration when it comes to physics and understanding about our realm. Like, his opinion literally don't come into my scope. It's useless. To me, anyway. I mean, it's entertainment value for sure, but like, he's the last person I would rely on if I didn't understand something. Really. Right? You want to understand something, want to figure something out? Here's where you need to be. Right here. This is the guy. I'm the one to make you understand it, if you want it. Right? That's part of my motto, of my traits, my ability. That's what I do. Clarification. Right? You don't come here on, oh, what's he gonna crack down today? No, that's what you go to Dell for. Because it's like, Dell's up and steaming again. He's gonna grind it out. And that can be very entertaining to behold and listen to for some people. You don't come to this show just for that. I mean, you might occasionally see me go a bit overboard angry. A little bit. Not as much as it used to be. And that might be entertaining in the moment. But that's not typically what you come to this show for, I hope. Not the people that visit me in chat anyway. The ones that do, usually I kick them out. They're just bastards. Yeah, and I do take notice that whenever I have a show in which I get really furious or get very persecuting, like talk about heavy punishments and all that for certain people in the world, yeah, those do draw a lot of attention for some reason. It's like some people like get really off on that or something, because those videos get like 1.5 times the views as all the rest do every time. So there are some people that just really want to see me angry. Oh my god, it's so important. Then it's worth it. Okay. But yeah, I'm not really interested in getting higher clicks like that. I really am not. I wouldn't give a shit. Yeah, because I don't want to be popular. I don't give a fuck. I just want to be able to say things the way that I want to say them. I want to be free, unrumpused, unstopped. Just say things the way that I want to say them. And I also want to help satisfy curiosity. If it is not morally dubious, that is. That's what I like to do. Answer questions. Clarify things. Right? And if that scores less viewerships, then I don't give a fuck. Yeah, unrumpused. Yeah. No, laugh it up. I mean, that's a real problem. I mean, if I'm like trying to explain something that's kind of difficult for me to explain, and then people just talk over me when I'm not even halfway my explanation, yeah, that's really fucking agitating and disruptive. That will give me physically a headache. So yeah, unrumpus, very important. Where is rumpus? I don't know. Right? Watching my... Yeah, I know. Guns. And I do strive to do that, right? Because I could get like more vicious and more monstrous, but it would be off. Like, it would just be the wrong thing to do. So I basically, yeah, just try to express those things in a way that are like neutral. They're not good, but they're not evil. They're just like natural. That's the side that I really try to pick, because that is the part that doesn't even actually really require people's mind to be alright. They could be fools, they could be idiots. They could be completely ignorant about how things really work, but they'll still get that part. You see? And that's why I take my angry moments very serious. But yeah, I guess that it really does stand out that those types of shows get like a lot more watches. They really just do. Right, so the best combination overall would be me getting really freaking angry, and then right after really clear-minded and have a genius idea, because that way then everybody's all like, oh, and then the great idea right when they're all exhilarated. But I mean, yeah, it doesn't always work like that. Sometimes it does. Sometimes me getting angry really does, in a way, release me, after which I will have some clarity, and an idea might just fall into my lap all of a sudden, right after. It does happen. It's because of the natural release. Can acceleration be constant for our reality? What? Yeah, but what are you talking? What acceleration? You mean relative density, disequilibrium force? Because otherwise I don't know what acceleration you're talking about. There is no constant acceleration. That's conception. That's like Newtonian mechanics-based reasoning. It's not. Things aren't continually accelerating. Yeah? They aren't. Because once the object just meets an equilibrium with its surroundings, it's not gonna move. It's not accelerating. It's not accelerating up. It's not accelerating down. It's just sitting there because it's at equilibrium with the medium it is in. So not all things are always accelerating. That's just incorrect. Never stop the odd rant. I'll just be doing what I do. Guns. I just want to... The thing is, when I get angry, I don't want to get to the point where I just keep blowing a gasket, right? Because that can't happen. I can't just like really... And that's very expressive. It is cathartic, cathartic, oh, freaking hell, you know what I mean. It is that, but it's also a bit of a burden on my system in a way. So I try to be passionate and serious and intense, but without letting it actually blow me up, blow my blood pressure or something, right? Because that part is not super healthy. So I am still like trying to find a balance within it all. They stop when they hit the ground. Oh yeah, really? So what about a ball on the ocean? Because is it hitting the ground? What about a boat? Why does it go halfway in the water? Could it be that the air inside the boat in combination with the boat equals the density of the water, like in between, and that it therefore keeps exactly at that certain height? It's not accelerating up or down. It's at equilibrium, not accelerating. Yeah, that's the whole point. There is no continual acceleration. It doesn't exist. It's conceptual. It's a thing that an imagination, a thought experiment that you can use to imagine how Newtonian mechanics are happening. But they aren't. Because things also go up and things literally stay stationary. They don't move around. They don't move up or down because they're at equilibrium with their medium. So there's no continual acceleration. That's a conception based on Newtonian thinking that excludes gas behavior. Hey, Seeking Starwater, good to see you. Energy is static? What? What do you mean, energy is static? All right. Yeah, Zane Solo, good question. Interesting question. Another question about lightning. I kind of missed that earlier, 3 minutes ago. When lightning occurred, does it strike from above or from the ground upward? Well, that's kind of complicated. Because what is lightning, right? I think that the electrical connection is kind of simultaneous. It's poof, it connects, bang, right? It's not moving. That movement you see, the lightning, like the lighting up, that's not the electrical connection. That's actually like a plasmic reaction from the gas that it's moving through. It's like a reaction, right? But the lightning, the electricity itself is actually like arguably instantaneous, and then the plasma burning follows, and that's the thing that gives all the light and what you see, and that might have a speed because it's like almost like a chemical reaction following the path of the electrical connection. But the electrical connection is arguably sort of instantaneous. It just connects. Bang. Does lightning ever occur above ocean? I think so. I think lightning strikes water. I'm not sure though. Yeah, it does. Yeah. You don't really see it very often though. But then again, I mean, yeah. But my point is that when you see the light going like zzz, right, very rapidly, that's not the electricity. That's the plasma burn of the gases that are being lit up by the electricity. It's kind of tricky to the mind. Right? So you just see it like this. First, there's the electrical connection, the tension, poof. And then, because of the intense energy release of that connection, it lights up, like almost like a chemical reaction, it lights up the air that it passes through. And that effect is secondary, and that might actually be visible having a speed. But it's not the electricity itself that's having that speed moving. It's the reaction from the connection that is doing that. And that's also the thing that gives light, so that's the part you see. You don't see the electricity, you see the lighting up of the gases by the electricity after it happened. I hope that answers your question, Zane Solo. It was a good question. Do you understand my case? What I'm saying? Huh, okay, Zeptabi, that is weird. I guess there are, like, it doesn't. Sometimes it's like the tensions just, it'll connect easier. So you could argue like there's a metal piece of a well or something that's just easier for the electric connection to connect up with, to ground with, than the building in that instance. But I mean, it does seem like that wouldn't happen very often, naturally. All right, yeah, Zane Solo. No, you're welcome. I appreciate it. I appreciate a good question. Oh, by the way, talking about storms, QE posted like a storm chaser video that was like in his town. Let's see if I can find that back. It's pretty intense. When was it? shit, that could be a while ago. Hope I'll still find it back. Christ. Maybe the other one. Ah, there it is. Yeah, found it. Yeah, so you want to check that out? Some serious storm here. And that's like in QE's town. He's not the one filming it. That should be obvious. But yeah, I mean, that's really spectacular. Want to check that out? Lightning that, yeah, no, that doesn't make any sense, Guns of Neuron. And what's laws of physics? Which laws of physics doesn't it follow exactly? I mean, if it's a law of physics, then you can't not follow it. You mean natural law? I mean, the way lightning connects is just, it's circumstantial, and sometimes, as I explained, sometimes the shortest way to connect is just a very odd position, what you wouldn't expect. You would expect, oh, it's going to go through that higher thing, but then it just doesn't, because in that moment the pathway was easier to connect up not using that higher thing. It just does that. It's not because of physics. It's just because the circumstances can be kind of weird. But it's natural. If it does happen, it happens. You couldn't science your way out of a wet paper bag. It's okay. Science illiterate. Okay, that's fine. Then I'll try to not utilize it then as much if you can to avoid humiliation. Maybe the mineral salts in the water. Yeah, perhaps. Or just in that location. I mean, if you really wanted to know, like, oh, why does the lightning always strike the water and not the trees, if that happens to happen in such a location typically, there's a way to figure that out. Like, you can actually, like, test, like, magnetism and even, like, do mini tests. Like, to see, like, hey, where would electrics touch down, and then oh, it's just this spot in the water, and then you might go to the bottom and then realize, whoa, there's like this patch of salt there, or like a iron ore in the ground or something like that, right? you can figure it out. There's usually a material reason why such things happen. If it happens persistently in a location, there's usually a material reason why that keeps happening then. Water is a great conductor? No, it isn't. Water is not a great conductor of electricity unless it has minerals dissolved in it, right? Especially salt. Like salt water conducts electricity. You can even like manipulate it with magnetism. It's weird. But clear water doesn't do that. Clear water is not a conductor of electricity. It's only when there's minerals, salts dissolved in the water that it becomes conductive. Did you know that, Zane Solo? Right? And logically, most water has minerals dissolved in it. I mean, your tap water has minerals dissolved in it. If you like, call it condensate, like filter your water by cooking it, and then, well, you will have a lot of mineral goo, crusty brownish stuff at the bottom heaping up. Well, those are the minerals that are normally dissolved in the water, which can be good. They can also be bad. Depends on what's being put in the water or what's taken out. But that is actually making it conductive a bit. The more it's the more the water is saturated with salt and minerals, the more conductive it becomes. Can become really conductive. But if there's like absolutely no minerals in it whatsoever, it will not conduct. Right? But yeah, when you realize the oceans are salt water, so they are definitely going to conduct. Also the water in our bodies, right? There's plenty of minerals. I mean, the water in our bodies is not just clear water. It's loaded with stuff, minerals and proteins and all kinds of things. And so yeah, that will make the water in your body conduct. But in reality, it's really more like the minerals that are the conductive factor. Really. Because minerals can conduct without water. Water without minerals don't conduct. So again, it's really the minerals. If you logically reason that out. Even distilled water is conductive? No, not really though. I mean, it's not like it's rubber or plastic that it's isolating, but it isn't conductive. It isn't like extra conductive. It's only when there's minerals in it that it really becomes conductive, like what people think about it typically. Right? But yeah, distilled water doesn't respond like rubber. It's not going to like isolate the electricity, right? That it can't get through. No, electricity can get through. It just won't really have any incentive to do so because clear water, distilled water, is just not very conductive at all. That's the difference. Okay, Guns N' Roses. What? see people electrocuted in bathtubs. Yeah, but that's because that's not distilled water, Zane Solo. Yeah? You're gonna fill your bathtub up with regular heated tap water. It has minerals in it. Yeah? And if you are in the bathtub, you're gonna release and dissolve your minerals from your skin and the shit that's heaped up there in the water. So that makes it even more conductive. It's worse than that? Yeah, haha, very funny. Yeah, keep emphasizing the same shit over and over again, George Sanford. It's not true. Yeah. Not all water is in fact conductive. Pure water, it doesn't isolate, but it's not like, it's not more conductive. It's like it is as conductive as dry wood or rock or something. It's not conductive. It's only when there's minerals dissolved in the water that it really does become a proper conductor. So keep hammering the same shitty point again, George. Maybe just say it again. Everyone is getting a bit inappropriate here. Very funny. Oh damn, it's my show. Wow, okay. I had no idea, but yeah, the time's already over. Right, I guess I'm gonna round it out then. Thanks everyone for coming. I hope you like this show. It started out a bit slow, but I mean, it was interesting back and forth. So I don't feel like giving it a title again. I'm gonna lay off the titles for a while to build momentum again. So yeah, thanks everyone for coming. If you like the show, then please don't forget to Rogan's it up. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell notification so you know when I'm going live, which is normally 1 p.m. Amsterdam time in the weekdays and 2 p.m. Amsterdam time in the weekend. And please also do support me through the PayPal and the Patreon. That would be much appreciated, and I can always use the support. Really, I can. I mean, yeah, there's still some things that I would like to get renewed at some point. So then again, if I get really serious about it, I might just have to start like a Give Send Go campaign for that or something. Right, but any support would be very welcome. Right, so I'll be back tomorrow with Flat Earth Early Bird number 1582 on a Wednesday, and I'm going to join the Flat Earth debates over at Nathan Oakley 9080 channel, which should start up any minute now. Hope to see you there in chat, and until the next video, keep it flat.